everyone, and in today's video we'll be covering the topic Naturalization of Humans and Humanization of Nature from Chapter 1 Human Geography, Nature and Scope from the book Fundamentals of Human Geography, Class 12. This is a very interesting topic, so let's get started. Now, before moving on to this topic, I would like you to visit this story, The Naturalization of Humans. Let me quickly give you a short summary. So this passage is about Benda, a tribal person who is living in the deep forests of Abuj Mad. Okay, so Abuj Mad is the forest, and Benda, he's living here in central India. His way of life reflects complete dependence on nature, showcasing naturalized human life. Okay, he's completely dependent on nature. Now, Benda's tribe live in primitive conditions, which is away from the modern life. Their village is so deep in the forest that even birds or animals rarely reach. They wear minimal clothing and practice shifting cultivation by burning small forest patches to make the soil fertile with ash. Benda finds joy in nature's beauty, especially when mahua trees bloom. He thanks the forest spirit, which is Human-o-logy, showing their spiritual connection with nature. He chews on roots and leaves and collects medicinal herbs, vijara and kuchla, which are used in barter trade during fairs. When outsiders approach, Benda and his friends vanish into the forest, showing their oneness with nature. So you have to read this whole passage, and this is just a short summary that I've given you about what this passage actually says, and the key takeaways or the important points that you need to remember from this passage. First is the location and the setting. Here it is talking about Abuj Mad, which is in the central India, and it consists of dense forests. Then they're talking about the tribal lifestyle, which is in isolation. There are no modern facilities or contacts here. Second, we are talking about the primitive practices. They are practicing shifting cultivation, using the ash as the fertilizer, which shows the dependence on natural processes. Third is the close bond with nature. Benda appreciates and he feels lucky to live in the nature. He believes in the forest spirits of Human-o-logy, and he shows deep spiritual respect for natural elements like mahua and palash trees. He also has traditional knowledge. He relies on the oral traditions to learn about herbs, and he regrets not listening carefully, which also shows the importance of generational wisdom. Then here is a barter economy wherein they collect the herbs for trade in tribal fairs, which is not for money, which shows a non-monetary and nature-based economy. And there is a camouflage coexistence, means he disappears into the forest when outsiders come. So he's living in harmony with nature and not apart from it. Here there is a concept reflected, which is environmental determinism. This particular story is all about that. It wanted to show you about environmental determinism where the humans are naturalized. Okay, so now let's cover this topic line by line through NCERT. And this is one of the most important part of this chapter. So, this particular part here, the human beings, they interact with the physical environment, as you all know. They are living in the natural world, and they also use the technology. Technology as in they're using the tools, the machines and the science to interact with the physical environment, that is the nature. Now, it is not important what human beings produce and create, but it is extremely important with the help of what tools and techniques do they produce and create. This means that more than the product itself, the method or the technology which is used is more important, but shows the level of development. So with the help of what tools is the method and technology that is reflecting here. When you are concerned about this part rather than the product, it is going to indicate the level of development, level of cultural development of the society. This kind of technology which a society uses to tell us how advanced or developed that society is culturally. Okay, so rather than the product which they are producing, we are talking about with the help of what method and what type of tools and techniques they are used to create, which is in turn reflecting the level of cultural development of society. And how are they producing? So human beings are interacting with the environment. How are they interacting? With the help of technology. So, human beings were able to develop technology after they developed a better understanding of natural laws. That is, that to create these useful tools, to create these useful machines, humans, they first had to understand how nature works. For example, gravity, for example, heat or plants growing. Now, knowing how friction, that is rubbing, produces heat helped early humans to make fire. Later, understanding biology and genetics, they helped humans to fight and cure diseases. So, the modern technology like airplanes and aerodynamics, they uses these scientific laws. Aerodynamic is a scientific law which is used to create airplanes. So here what are we talking about? We're talking about the modern technology. So knowing nature well is the base of creating useful technology. This is something important and you need to understand as well. As humans advanced technology helped them control the nature. Instead of just adjusting to it, they became less dependent on natural limits. In ancient times, the humans, they had no control. Okay, they had to adapt completely to nature, and they used to follow and obey nature. For example, when to farm, where to live, all of these things were influenced by nature. They adapted to the dictates of nature, and this is because of that the technology was very low. They had no modern tools, okay, and the society was also not advanced, so they had no choice, but they had to ultimately depend on nature. And this relationship, this interaction where the nature is controlling humans, okay, that is known as environmental determinism. The interaction between the primitive human society and the strong forces of nature. Strong forces of nature, why? Because the human beings, they do not have that level of advancement in technology, and they still are obeying the nature. They are still under nature. The humans were naturalized, meaning they were controlled by nature. They feared it, and they often worshipped things like the sun, rain, and wind as gods. So the main thing that you need to understand here is about the technology which was used, the tools, the machines, methods which they used to create using the knowledge. Then we have talked about the natural laws, which are the rules that explain how nature works, and environmental determinism, which is the idea that nature controls how human society develops, and the naturalized humans, which are the early humans who were deeply dependent on and influenced by nature. Okay, so this is your environmental determinism. Then I'll give you an example also which will help you to relate it. In ancient times, just listen to me and imagine it. In ancient times, early human civilizations like the Indus Valley civilization, Egyptian civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, they developed near rivers. Why? Because rivers gave water for drinking and irrigation. There was fertile soil from floods which helped in agriculture. The rivers also provided the fish and food. Transport and trade were easier along rivers. So I give you this example. How this shows environmental determinism? Because humans, they were forced to settle near rivers because their survival was dependent on it. Their agriculture, religion, festivals, and daily life, all of these things were dictated by nature's forces. They even worshipped rivers like the Nile, Ganga, Indus because they feared and respected their power. So here humans, they have adjusted to nature. Okay, they followed the natural rhythms and they built their beliefs and culture around nature. So nature was the boss, humans had to listen, adapt, and survive. This is what is called as environmental determinism and naturalized human life. I hope this particular topic is clear to you. If still you are having any doubts, do let me know in the comment section. In the next video, we will be covering the topic of so basically this particular topic, I have divided this into two parts, okay. First part, we have studied the naturalization of humans. In the second part of this particular topic, we will be studying the humanization of nature and possibilism in the next video. So that is it for this video. See you in the next. Thank you.